At the start of Football Manager 2024, you will find Ivan Fresneda at Sporting. He's 18 years old, valued at £13 to £39 million, and earns £24,500 until 2028. He plays mainly as a right back, but can also move forward into a wing back role and can even step further forward into midfield if required. Looking at his attributes in the physicals, he has good pace, agility, stamina and acceleration. In the mentals, he has a full set of yellow stats, which include teamwork, work rate, determination, bravery and anticipation all standing out. And in the technicals, first touch, long throws, marking, passing, tackling and technique all stand out too. At 6 foot tall, he should be an asset for defensive set pieces, and also with his pace be dangerous joining in attacks as he moves forwards. He's a player that was already a wonderkid in FM23. He has now got to move to Sporting. But what will happen in the next 5 years of his career? Let's jump to 2028 and find out. So we have now jumped forward 5 years. It is 2028 and we find Ivan Fresneda is at Manchester City. He's 23 years old and has made 2 full Spanish international appearances. He's also played 13 times for the under-21s, scoring twice. He's valued at £22 to £66 million and earns £98,000 a week until 2032. Looking at his attributes, he still looks pretty much like the player he was 5 years ago. But breaking it down a bit further, in the physicals, he now has 16 for balance, 16 for pace, 13 acceleration, 14 stamina and 14 agility. In the mentals, everything scores above 12 there. In the technicals, I think he pretty much looks exactly the same, but he has 14 for tackling, 14 for marking, 13 for long throws, 12 technique, 12 crossing and 12 first touch. He now has some player traits, which are runs with the ball down the right, gets forward whenever possible, knocks the ball past opponent, moves the ball to the right foot before dribbling attempts. If we go into his career stats to see how he got to Manchester City, so he was at Sporting for £7.75 million at the start of the game. He played 14 times, 13 times, then his game time dropped to just 9 appearances in 25-26. In 26-27 he played 14 times. Then he played 20 times for Sporting in the 27-28 season before a £41 million move to Manchester City meant that he didn't get a single first team Premier League game whilst being at Manchester City. So is that going to stunt his career? Is that what is holding back his development? Let's jump 5 years further forward and see what happens when we get to 2033. It's now 2033 and we find Ivan Fresneda is at Leeds. He's 28 years old, has played 6 times for the Spanish national team and he's valued at £25 to £76 million. He earns £115,000 per week and he's contracted until 2036. Looking at the attributes, he seems to now have plateaued and stopped progressing in his development, but he still is a fine player. Looking at the physicals, balance of 16, pace of 15, acceleration and agility are all standouts too. In the mentals, concentration of 16, anticipation of 16, decisions and determination of 15. Then in the technicals, tackling is still 14, marking is 14, crossing is 13. In terms of his player traits, they are pretty much still the same. Gets forward whenever possible, knocks the ball past opponent, moves the ball to the right foot to dribble. If we look at his career stats to see how he has ended up at Leeds then, so following his £41 million move to Manchester City, he played a grand total of 1 game in 2 seasons, which then prompted him to go back to Portuguese football to sign for Benfica for £16.75 million, and whilst at the club, he would play a grand total of 9 games. So a disappointing spell back in Portugal led to a loan move to Leeds, where he played 12 times, and that was enough for them to splash £22 million on him to make that loan deal permanent, where he would play 30 games and 37 games in the 32-33 season. So he's finally found a level where he can play some first team football. Can he develop any further now that he's getting the first team football? Probably not as he comes towards the end of his career, but will he stick it out at Leeds or will he be somewhere else in 2038? So it is now 2038 and we find a 33-year-old Ivan Fresneda is still at Leeds. He has still played 6 times for the Spanish national team and valued by Leeds at £9.4 to £28 million, and he's earning £110,000 per week. Looking at the player, he has now just plateaued and is exactly the same player that he was 5 years previous. In terms of the physicals, balance is 16, pace of 15, acceleration of 13. In the mentals, anticipation, concentration, determination all score highly, and still the same player in terms of the technicals. Looking at his history to see how he has ended up at this point of his career then, so he made that £22 million move to Leeds, and he has hit the ground running there because he has been a first team regular every single season he has been at the club, and that is something that was really missing in the early stages of his career when he went to Manchester City and Benfica. So looking overall at his entire playing career, he has only played 364 games, he has scored 3 goals and has 22 assists. If we go into the milestones to see if he has won anything whilst he has been at the clubs that he has been at, so he's been at some big clubs, but despite that, he has been at Sporting as an Allianz Cup winner. He was placed 3rd in the Olympic Games with Spain. He won the Supertaca Candido de Oliveira whilst at Sporting. He got his first international cap against Poland at 21. Then, still at Sporting, another Allianz Cup. Before moving to Manchester City, he won the Carabao Cup. They placed 3rd in the FIFA Club World Cup with Benfica. He won the Taça de Portugal placard, the Liga Portugal Betclic, and he won the Supertaca Candido de Oliveira again, for finally winning another Portuguese league with Benfica in 2031. And then he has sadly won nothing whilst he has been at Leeds United. In terms of personal accolades, Sporting, lots of Team of the Week and Seasonal Best 11s, and finally he was named in Leeds Seasonal Best 11 and Spain's Seasonal Best 11. So a career that has seen him go to England and Portugal in various spells. He ends up playing 254 times for Leeds, getting 2 goals, and will probably stay there until the end of his career. Right then, I think he's one of these players that you need to sign early if you can get him away from Sporting, and not do what Manchester City did and just leave him on the bench. You need to play him to develop him, and I think he could possibly become even better than what he did in this save. Okay, so at this point I am going to be leaving it there. Before you do go, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out the rest of the channel. Also, there are plenty of other videos, hints, tips, tutorials, Wonderkids, Let's Plays. There is something for everybody on the channel. But for this one, thank you for watching. I'll see you on another video very soon.